Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking a little bit of time out of your day today to spend with me. I really appreciate it. So today, what I'm going to be showing you is a framework for predictable growth in your landscaping business. Now, I've tried to balance this between giving you information that you can take away and actually implement in the business without getting too technical and into the weeds for you. So hopefully I've struck that balance. But let's start out just by making sure that, we're all in the right place here. This is for anyone, any ambitious landscaping business owner. If you want to develop a winning marketing strategy and execute on that strategy to generate predictable growth in your business, if some of these sound like you, are you someone who wants to grow their company but always feels like marketing is more of an expense than profit? Have you been stuck doing the same campaigns over and over again, not seeing any improved results, or worse, a declining results? And do you feel like your competitors are eating your market share, or are you seeing competitors dominate with a lower quality offering? Are you fed up that company growth doesn't grow in proportion to the effort that you put in, or even worse, you're sliding backwards? Do you secretly believe that there's an invisible ceiling on how big your company can grow? Or do you secretly believe that you're just not capable, but you're going through the motions anyway? And do you see your competitors running big campaigns that you know are expensive, which means that they must be getting some return on that investment? And does that make you jealous or resentful? And does it leave you kind of questioning yourself or your own capabilities? Or have you hired an agency or a marketing consultant or invested in a course to reach your goals with nothing to show for it? Deep down, do you secretly believe that your business is capable of so much more, but you're terrified that you'll never achieve it? Because the real problem is you're not working within an effective, proven marketing system. Once you have that proven marketing system, you'll know exactly which marketing campaigns you should be running. You'll have a clear success criteria for each campaign. You'll have a deep understanding of what is working and how to scale those results. You'll execute the right campaigns at the right time and know exactly how to prioritize those without the guesswork. And you'll gain momentum with your brand and sales. So today, what I'm going to show you is how to build that marketing system or that framework. So my name is Michael Miller. I'm the founder at Good Ideas Marketing and creator of the Landscape and Marketing Success System. I've been helping businesses scale their revenue through marketing since 1998. I'm an expert on the evolving landscape of marketing strategy, digital marketing, core message development, and consumer behavior. I'm also an avid long-distance runner, and I live in London, Ontario with my wife of 24 years and sometimes my grown-up kids when they decide to rematerialize. And I do spend as much of my winters as I can in Costa Rica. If you lived in London, Ontario, you'd probably do the same thing. So here are the 4 steps that we're kind of going to go through here today. Now, let me read them out for you first. Number 1 is to narrow your focus to your top 20% and promise to solve the problem. Attract those ideal clients to you, because that's what that top 20% is. They're your ideal clients. Engage and convert them into customers, and retain them and turn them into referral machines. So there's a lot of ways to do numbers 2, 3, and 4. But what I'm going to show you today are highlights from the ways that I've seen that work the best for landscape companies. I want to start though by showing you a funnel. So you've all probably seen an image like this before. So many people out there are selling this funnel mentality. Like if we just get on the right platform and generate enough leads, ram them down this funnel, they'll turn into customers. That's not really reality anymore. Things have changed. The platforms have changed, of course, but the thing that's changed the most about marketing is the way people decide to buy. They're in charge now. So let me share with you a couple of statistics to talk about what I'm getting at. 86% of buyers will pay more for a better customer experience. I know that I have. I know that I will. So maybe there's actually some money to be made in focusing on what happens after somebody becomes a customer. 83% of consumers claim that they have a business they love so much they would happily refer other people to it. This is a stat that comes from a Texas Tech study done a number of years ago. But let me ask you this: what percentage of those 83% of people do you think actually refer a business? They have somebody they love and they would happily do it. But what percent do you think actually refer that business? Get that number in your head. The actual number is 29%. So maybe there's some money to be made in closing that nearly or that over 50% gap. Maybe we should be focusing on that instead of chasing the idea of the week. The customer journey today looks a lot more like this. The ways that your customers come in contact with you, and ultimately decide to purchase is largely, or sometimes completely out of your control. And marketing today is less about creating demand and more about organizing behavior. And what I want to share with you here is it's a very powerful tool that we use with clients to help us guide people in the journey that they want to go through. It's something called the marketing hourglass. So to me, the marketing hourglass is this full end-to-end customer journey that's going to keep us focused on the right things and creating that predictive growth. The idea behind the hourglass is that there are 7 stages, and really they're more behaviors than they are stages. Know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and our job as marketers or as business owners is to determine how we can gently move people through all of these 7 stages the way that they want to go through them. How can we close the gaps in moving them through these stages and answer the questions that they have at each of these stages? The questions they need answered before they can take that next step. I would really encourage everyone on the call today and watching this recording to sit down and think about each one of these stages. And jot down how your prospect might come in contact with you at each of these stages. Before they know you, when they just find out about you, how they get to like you and trust you. What are the contact points there? We don't have time to go through that exercise today. I do that as a workshop, but it's a half-day seminar in its own, but it's a very, very powerful exercise to go through to understand where you need to show up. And then do it again and think about what are the questions that your clients have at each stage, and what's the core message that you need to put in front of them there, and tie that to each stage. Now, there's a lot of businesses out there whose customer journey looks more like this. They get someone to know about them and somebody buys. And that kind of focus does a couple of things. It does a couple of bad things. It's going to attract the wrong kind of customer, and it's going to attract price shoppers. And you just don't want to be attracting people who are only interested in the lowest price, because they're never going to pay a premium for what it is that you do. So, that's what we want to do with our system, is set you up to attract the right kind of people, your ideal customers. We want to engage them and help them through the journey and turn them into repeat customers who refer people just like them to you. People who are willing to pay a premium for what it is that you do. So how do we do that? We come back again to these 4 steps. So step number 1, let's dive into that. First, you really have to understand who your ideal customer is. And I know many of you are probably thinking right now, well, it's anybody who owns a house, buddy. I have a landscaping business. What do you think of it? But that's just a customer. That's not an ideal customer. Your ideal customers, I'm going to suggest, are the top 20-ish% of your customers. And a great way I've found to define that is, your most profitable customers who also refer business to you. Now, you may have another way that you want to categorize them, but I found that to be really, really effective. And then what you have to do once you've defined who those people are is create a promise to solve the biggest problem that they have. And I'll be brutally honest with you right now. 99% of landscaping businesses, well, 99% of all businesses really, are talking all about themselves and their service. But people don't care. Early in the journey, all they want to know is, do you understand them? Do you understand their problem? And how you get at that real problem that you solve for your clients is quite simply by asking them. Pick up the phone and ask them, why did you choose us? Why do you stick with us? What do we do differently than others? Google reviews are another terrific place to look for this information. Read your reviews word for word, looking for themes. People who have taken the time to leave you a review have been surprised. You've exceeded their expectations. You've solved their problem. So I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to go through a few reviews for a business, and I pulled out some key messages for each. So they came and they worked as scheduled and cleaned up nicely after it was done. The guys showed up on time and did a wonderful job. In the past, we've dealt with people who don't show up or do a professional job. Everything was cleaned up very well. So I went through those kind of quickly, and you might not have noticed that that was for a tree service business, because there was no mention of tree service in any of that. And the perception for a lot of people is really anyone with a truck and a chainsaw can cut down a tree. But what they're not getting from those folks is someone who shows up on time, who's, when they said they will, and someone who cleans up the job site when they're done. That's the real problem that this company was solving for their ideal customer. And now it's above the fold on their website. Our promise to you, we'll show up when we say we will, and we'll clean up before we leave. So what is the real problem that you are solving? That needs to be what you lead with in all of your messaging. That's what you need to figure out by digging into your ideal customers and what are the problems that they have and how did you help them solve. So step number 2, once you know that and who they are and what makes them tick, how do you attract them? And in today's digital first world, there's really 2 main ways that work best for landscapers: local search engine optimization, or SEO, and paid advertising. So let's look at SEO first. We know that in the research phase, our ideal customers are going to do a couple of things. And one of them is they're going to go online, fire up their computer, and type in the search. So SEO is about getting found by your ideal customers when they're out there searching for a solution to the problem that you can help them. So this is the know stage of the marketing hourglass that we looked at earlier. And local SEO is focused on getting you found by people who are searching in your local area. So we're going to touch on 2 aspects of this, and I'll show you how you can get these elements working a little harder for you. The first is your Google Business Profile. So this is one of the most important aspects to getting found in local search. This is a huge piece of what gets you found in the local 3-pack, and that's that piece on the left there. It's a screenshot of search results that shows the top 3 local businesses based on a search string. I grabbed these screenshots randomly because I was talking to some folks in Austin, and I think the search that I used was landscaping company in Austin. And it's that 3-pack that comes up that you want to appear in. And Google wants you using their system. So you want to make sure that you're playing their game and you're optimizing your Google Business Profile properly. Now, there's a ton of ways that you can do that. I'm going to share with you 5 of them, but I've got a tip sheet that I can share with you afterwards by email that's got 15 of these, but I pulled out what I think are probably the 5 most important things that you can do to optimize this profile. So number 1 is claim your profile. And if you haven't done this, I'm going to assume that everyone on this call has probably done this. But if you haven't, claim that profile and fill in as much detail as you can, including at least 5 photos, videos if you can, a combination thereof. Number 2 is ensure that your name, address, and your phone number are accurate and they're exactly the same as they are on your website. You do not want any differences in the way your name, address, and phone number appear on your Google Business Profile, to your website, to other directories or places on the web that you exist in. And the reason for that is quite simply, search engines use that information to triangulate, to understand where you are in the areas you serve. And if you confuse them and they think there's 2 different businesses with slightly different locations, that's going to skew the results, and that's going to make it harder for you to appear in local search. So number 3 is create at least 3 posts to start, and then keep that going at least 1 per month. Google loves to see fresh content, and this also gives another opportunity for your prospects to click through to your site when they're looking at those posts. And if you didn't know, you can create posts on your Google Business Profile the same way that you do. It's like creating a Facebook post. It's very, very similar. It's very easy to do once you get into the back end of your Google Business Profile. And number 4 is respond to all of your reviews. This is good for engaging those who have left the review. It's a good signal for people who are searching and are reading those reviews that you actually care and you're paying attention. And it's a good signal to Google that you're paying attention. They like to see it. I've seen studies showing that actively responding to reviews has a direct impact on your ranking and getting you into that 3 pack. Oops. And then 5 is add a primary and multiple secondary service categories. I've seen a number of businesses that they just set up that initial primary category and ignore everything else. But you want to explain to Google in detail exactly what it is that you do. You want to fill out all of those secondary categories, fill as much as you can. Make sure Google understands exactly what it is you do. Okay, the next area of local SEO that we're going to touch on is what you can do on your own website to increase the chance you're going to come up when your ideal clients are out there searching for services like yours. Now, before you get started in optimizing your website, step 1 is going to be doing some keyword research. Now, by understanding the problem that your ideal customers are trying to solve, like we talked about a few minutes ago in the hourglass, you're going to be able to anticipate the words that they'll use when they're sitting down to type that search into Google. So the process that I recommend doing is, to start with, just do some brainstorming based on what you've learned about your ideal clients from speaking to them and doing some research, and get an initial list. But then once you have that list, there's a number of tools out there that you can use to refine them. A great free one that I recommend is Google Keyword Planner. Plug those words into that, and then you can start to see search volumes. You can start to see how competitive those search terms are. So you can sort of narrow that list down to keywords that have lots of search volumes. So there's lots of people using them, but they're not too competitive. So you have a better chance at ranking for them. And then once you have that list, you're going to go take that and then optimize your website to those terms. And there's a few ways that you're going to do this. And I'll try and explain this without getting too technical or into the weeds. Number 1 is create a page for every product and service and location that you have. It's not enough just to have a page with all of your services listed on it. It's not enough to have them briefly mentioned on the home page. It's not even enough just to have a page for each service. You want to have a page for each service in every area that you're delivering that service. So examples up here, if you're in Austin landscape designer, you want a page optimized for Austin tree removal. You also want a page optimized for Sunset Valley fence builder. If you do fence building, Sunset Valley is a neighborhood or subdivision of Austin. So you're optimizing it for both the service that you're delivering and the area that you're delivering it in. And that's going to give you a much greater chance of appearing in local search when somebody is looking for that service near me, or that service in the area that they are. Or even if they just search for that service, but Google knows it's a local service, so they're triangulating areas around where that person is sitting with their computer. It's going to help you come up much better. So number 2 is optimizing your headlines, your title tags, your meta description, and your content. For those of you that don't know what this stuff is, so every page on your website has a primary headline. In website speak, we call this an H1 title tag. So this is what tells Google what the page is about. Chances are it's the biggest headline on any given page that you're looking at, or it should be. What you want to do is you want to put the most important keyword in that H1 headline, in that H1 title tag. Okay, that's what you're telling Google that this page is about. And then you use the other, related keywords or similar terms in subheadlines and in the body copy of the article as well. Don't stuff the headlines in there too much so it doesn't sound natural, but make sure those keywords are in those headlines. And then your title tags and your meta description are a little bit behind the scenes. You don't actually see them when you're looking at your website. Where they appear is in a search. So here's, again, a search for that Austin landscape company. So what you're seeing here are the title tags and the meta descriptions that these website owners have created for their websites for these specific pages that come up in that search. So this is kind of like your ad to convince somebody to click through to your website. If you've optimized your page properly and you're coming up for search, Google can show your page to the people who search for that term, and it's your meta description and your title tag that's going to appear. That's going to convince somebody whether or not they should click through. So you want to make sure, again, you've got those keywords that they're searching for in there. You're giving a strong call to action of what's the value they're going to get when they click through. Talk about the problem that they're trying to solve when they're searching for those keywords. Now, it's a little bit technical, but it's actually pretty simple to do. You know, if your website's built on WordPress, there's a plugin that you can download called Yoast, Y-O-A-S-T, that will make this really simple for you to do. If your website rather is built on Squarespace or Duda or Wix or something like that, again, the settings, the SEO settings in there are pretty straightforward and easy for you to add this title tag and this meta description. But very important to add those. Number 3 is to create some local content. So Google continues to get smarter, which is great because it means that you can now write for the end user and a little bit less to appease the search engine, so it's a little more natural. But when you're doing that, don't just write about broad topics. I mean, that's going to help you attract a vast audience, but it's sometimes more important to, hone in and focus and write a little bit about local issues or news to help attract that local audience and help the search engine to understand that, you're in that, you're servicing that area. So, what are the issues that you can write about? Local things to specific lawn care issues for your area that would be different from the Northeast to the Southwest, local events that are coming up, what can you mention and put into your newsletter and your blog to optimize that content for local. And then your name, address, and phone number and a map in the footer. So we talked a little bit about the importance of the name, address, phone number in the Google Business Profile. Make sure it's exactly the same on the website. Get a map in your footer as well, and also provide a link from the map or the name, address, and phone number in your footer to your Google Business Profile. Create that link. Again, there's a ton more that you can do here, but these 4 will give you a really great head start. So the second way that you can attract your ideal client that we're going to talk about is through pay-per-click ads. Everyone knows what these are here. Someone plugs in a search into Google, the first 3 or 4 listings that come up, they're paid ads. You're bidding on the keywords that you think people are going to search for, and it's an auction. And these platforms have made it really easy to set up a campaign and start getting some clicks right away. There's probably a lot of you on here that are doing that yourself, which is great. But if you're not doing it, before you start, or if you are doing it, before you start trying to tweak and optimize these things, there's 7 things that I want you to keep in mind before jumping into that, okay? So number 1 is your target. So use the research that you did to understand your ideal client and get very clear on who they are. Use that same keyword research that we talked about in SEO earlier, and use that to target the keywords that you're bidding on. And then your offer. What's the offer that you're going to make that ideal client? What's going to make them convert? It's not necessarily going to be a sale opportunity, a sales call or a sales conversation. It could be something much higher level. We'll get into that a little bit more when we're talking about conversion. The ad copy itself, right? What does the ad copy need to say to get them to click through to see that offer? And it may not be the same as what the offer is, but it does need to say the right things to get them to click through. It needs to, again, use those keywords and speak to their problem. And then where are they going once they click through? What's that landing page? Please don't send them to your homepage. It is not set up to handle that. You will lose them. You are wasting your money if you're sending people to your homepage. Create a specific landing page each campaign that you're running. And then you optimize that for lead capture. So once they get there, they're more likely to convert. It's a continuation of that journey. The language is the same. It's almost like turning a page on a book and keep reading, right? And, remarketing. And this is really just, are you going to use it or are you using it? If we are sending people these landing pages or other places on our website, do we have a plan for what to do if they don't convert? Because not all of them are going to. Do we have a plan for how we're actually going to follow them around the internet and continue to try and re-engage them? So that's what remarketing is about. The mobile and desktop. So these experiences are so different. In my opinion, I really believe you need to have different campaigns, different ads, different ad copy, different creative for mobile and desktop. And then finally, conversions. I don't know how many times I've seen businesses that are spending, upwards of 5,000 plus a month on ads, and they're not properly tracking their conversion. Their PPC agency might be telling them, "Oh, we got 173 clicks for you last month." Great, but what does that really mean for the business? What are the goals that we have set up in analytics so that we can see that this click filled out a form, that click made a phone call? Do we have call tracking set up to record those calls that go from click to customer? How do we know what our actually return on ad spend is? So here's a snapshot of the Google Analytics exchange showing different traffic to the website for a client. We have goals set up in Google Analytics now for forms completed and for phone calls. So you can see that box there and that orange arrow pointing to the fact that paid ads are converting at more than double of all the other channels. But without setting up these goals and monitoring this kind of data, you really have no idea if your ad spend is actually making you any money. All right, once you've got their intention and you've converted them, they're on their website, you need to get them to like, trust, and try you. And this is where you want to optimize that website for engagement and for lead capture. So remember the core message on the tree service website from a few minutes ago? Your ideal customers need to see themselves on your website. They want to see a problem solution statement. They want to see their problems and their struggles and how you're going to help them through that. They need to see proof and testimonials and trust reviews. When they click through to your social media profiles, they need to get to know you and feel what it might be like to work with you and understand your personality better. And they need to want to give you their contact information. And we talked about this earlier on conversions, but a lot of sites I see have, your standard free quote or free consultation link, which is fine to have, but that's only going to capture people who are ready for that conversation right now. Ready to purchase, or at least pretty far down their decision making that they're ready to think about purchasing. But statistics show that 9 out of 10 visitors to most websites are just doing research. They're not ready to have that sales conversation. So you need to give them a reason to leave their email address and their phone number so that you can nurture them, so you can follow up. And the way that you do that is with a lead magnet that offers them some value, something other than join our mailing list. Maybe it's a 5-day email course on how to get the perfect lawn, or a tip sheet on prepping your property for summer, or 5 award-winning patio design, the backyard planning patio guide, or even a webinar or a workshop like this, right? The key is to relate it to the problem that they're trying to solve and make it of value so that they'll be willing to trade you their email address or phone number for it, and you can continue the conversation and you don't lose 90% of the traffic that are hitting your website or potentially your landing pages. These lead magnets can also be the offer that you use in your paid ads. You don't necessarily have to be running ads that lead directly to a sale. I think you should be running those, but you can also run ads that are leading to this lead magnet to help you build a house list to continue to market. Okay, so after they've tried you and they've become customers, that is not the end. Marketing isn't over once you run the ad and you make the sale. Marketing doesn't stop until your customers are telling other people about you. So this is where reputation management and a referral program come in. Now, there are a number of things that you can do here. First, on the retain area, make it super easy to leave a review. Be sure to ask them for it too. Don't leave it up to chance. For our clients, we create a review webpage and a dedicated process to generate more 5-star reviews and to use them on the website, on social media, and a whole bunch of other places to build that trust. Also, what does your retention process look like? Are you continuing to educate your clients on the value that they're getting from you? Do you have special offers for existing clients or cross promotions? My experience is if you focus on that top 20% of your client base, 20% of those would do 10 times more business with you, and 20% of that group might be willing to do 100 times more business with you if you can show them how. Maybe someone signed up for a one-off service, but in your post-project follow-up, you'll tell them, hey, if we come back every couple of weeks and do this, you're going to get a 75% better result on what you just paid us to do. And it's only going to cost you this much. And so what are you doing to nurture that and push them to the next stage in their journey? And then, quite frankly, most referrals happen accidentally. But what are you doing to stay top of mind? Do you have an email newsletter? Are you sending out seasonal tips? Do you send out new completed project photos and videos? Do you give clients a video of their completed project that they can share with their friends and family and post on their social platforms? This can be incredibly powerful. If I receive that and I'm sharing that, I'm going to share it because I'm going to love to show off what I've just done. And imagine, the feeling if I receive that, the endorsement of what that is about your business being shared by somebody else. What are you doing to nurture your chance of clients? So these are the people who are already referring business to you. Do you offer an incentive? What are you doing to make them feel special? Do you have client appreciation events? What are those things that you're doing? So these are some of the ideas of how you can implement these 4 steps to start building that system. I've got some tools for you that are going to help you sort of focus your efforts and do the work to build this predictable growth. But first, I want to share with you sort of what might be a plan B, or maybe it's a plan A. It's kind of the easy path. It's called the Landscaper Marketing Success System that I've created. So everything that we talked about today is part of that system. So the system is custom built for landscapers, and it's based on a proven framework for creating growth that's at work right now in thousands of businesses in the US, Canada, and abroad. And the system provides, a website built to convert, either a brand new site or we optimize your existing one, an SEO program to get you found by your ideal customers, a reputation management program to get people spreading the word about you, a social media program to create raving fans, an email marketing system to help you, convert and engage prospects and customers, and a customized dashboard so that you can actually see the results in real time and understand what's working and what's not, and what we need to adapt to. And you're also getting a marketing expert like me focusing on your business so you can focus on running the business. So the Landscaper Marketing Success System, I will say though, is not for everyone. To start off, we limit the program to just one business in each local area. And that's just because it's tough to make 2 businesses the best known landscaper in the same area, and we don't want to be competing with ourselves, with other customers. And then secondly, no single system is going to work for every business. We want to make sure that we'll get the results that you expect before signing anybody up. And the way that we do that is we have a short strategy call to qualify you. So on this call, which will take about 15 to 20 minutes, we'll discuss your business and figure out if you're a good candidate for the system. And even if you're not a good fit at the end of that call, or if you decide that it's not for you, you're still going to get part of this process, a free website report that has a $250 value, an online presence audit, it's got a $300 value, and a list of your competitor keywords that you can use, at least a $250 value. So if that's of interest to you, there's 3 ways that you can book that. You snap a picture of this QR code right now and book some time. You can use that website address there, landscapersuccess.ca/call, note the .ca, not .com. Or you can email me direct, which is michael@landscapersuccess.com. That one's a .com. So that's how you can book that call. But if you're interested in the DIY path, there are some worksheets that I can provide you that will help you sort of focus your efforts and try to install this yourself. I don't usually provide these to people who are not in my coaching program, but for coming out to this webinar and registering and watching the recording, I'm going to make them available to you for a limited time for just $71. The same thing, use that QR code link there to grab those worksheets and can download them, go back, watch the recordings, take some more notes, and use the worksheets, and then you can become an expert on everything like websites or Google search ads, Google display ads, yada, yada, yada. It is absolutely doable if you have the time and if you have the team. Or again, you can book that call to see if you qualify for the landscape marketing success using one of these three methods. Whichever one you take, good luck. And now I'll stop the recording and open things up to questions.